Welcome everyone. Welcome. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are from.
Good evening.
Good evening. We have many new faces, so while we are waiting, Ranjit, maybe ask them to put it in the chat box from where
Yes,
they are
yes,
joining.
please. Please introduce yourself or let us know where you are from. You can type it in the chat or you can even speak. No restriction here.
Jando, you are welcome to India. Jando, you are from Japan?
Yeah, I'm from Indonesia.
Indonesia. Okay.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm joined for
Thank you for joining.
Chennai chapter.
Oh, great. So nice of you. What about you, Uzin?
Sorry?
Uzin, there is another
I'm
gentleman.
coming from Indonesia also, Jakarta.
Okay.
Yeah. Greetings from Jakarta.
Oh, great. Great.
Hello, Armugam.
Ravi, smile, please.
Very encouraging to see within 3 minutes we have almost 40.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Wonderful.
It's a lot of interest and a lot of enthusiasm to on team coaching. That's very good.
This is a very interesting topic because we rarely get events around team coaching, right? So
So the pressure is on me now to deliver.
No, we will always.
All of us are there together. We will make it
Yeah,
happen.
this is a session which can be co-created in the typical team coaching style.
Beauty of coachability is to co-creation.
Yes.
Hello, Preeti. Good to see you. Hello, Ravi. We watched some videos of yours sometimes. Very nice videos you're putting. Ravi Panikkar.
Gratitude.
Hi, Ravi.
Hi.
Hi, Preeti.
Hi, Baburaj.
Hi, Aarti. Hi, Edwin has come as promised.
He is there now.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, Edwin.
Hi, me too. Thank you.
Yeah, Ashwin is asking a
Hi.
question about CCUs. Let me clarify. There is CCUs for
Hi,
this
everybody.
session.
Hi, Ravi.
Yeah, CCUs are there. CCUs will be
He got the
certificates.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes, please.
Now the certificates will be rolled out in the coming weeks, or a week or two. But we have got the CCUs approved by the global. So yes.
Yeah.
To
This
answer
is
your
like
question,
1.25 CC and 0.25 RD.
Great.
I think we should get started.
Yes.
I'll admit others after the intro. Neetu, you can start. It's recorded, right? It's recording is on. Good. Thank you. Welcome everyone. Welcome to I would say, the second of this year, second coachability for the year, and I think eighth coachability overall since the time of its inception in 2024. And I think Baburaj had the privilege of doing the first coachability session this year. And coachability is a platform designed by ICF Chennai chapter for the member and associates, but it's open for everybody to participate. And it's the main objective of coachability is giving a forum for members and associates to showcase any framework that they have developed, any tools, techniques, best practices. And this is also an area where they can do some experimentation in collaboration and in partnership with the fellow coaches, right? And it's also a giveaway, as a gift from the side of the coach to the wider community and sharing knowledge, right? So that's the coachability platform. So that's a broad definition that even if you are using any industry tool, industry practices which you have found very valuable in your coaching practice and you want to share it, yes, welcome to share that. You can participate in the subsequent coachability session. Let me get to the topic of the day. The speaker today or the presenter is Aruna. And let me give a brief introduction about Aruna. Aruna is an ICF credential executive and team coach with over 25 years of experience across industry, academia, and leadership development. An ORSC certified coach and founder of she enables leadership capability and team effectiveness through systemic intervention. And she has a lot of other credentials and a lot of other, I'm not going through everything. I think everybody is eager to get directly into the meat of the topic, which is on team coaching, the adapt-5 team coaching method. Over to you, Aruna.
Thank you, Ranjit. It feels strange to be introduced. Usually for the L&D sessions, I'm the one who is introducing the speaker.
Ranjit missed it. Aruna is the director for LFD. She is the board member of ICF Chennai Chapter.
And
Right, Aruna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ilan. Thank you, Ranjit, for that introduction, and glad you could keep it small. Otherwise, I'll keep wondering, is it really my introduction? So anyway, so thank you once again to ICF Chennai for this opportunity, not just a board member, but for presenting this. And welcome everyone. And I really appreciate you joining on this Friday evening where you could have been somewhere else. But I know from people joining from Jakarta and all, it's 8 p.m. I'm dialing in from Brunei. It is 9 p.m. for me here. So, I'm really excited to share this framework. A little story about how this framework came about. Let me just start sharing my screen and then put it for you. So yeah, it all started when my mentor, she invited me to be a faculty in her coach training school. And she asked me to develop a module on team coaching instead of normal one-to-one, because she is handling the one-to-one, and she asked me to develop team coaching. And that is where I started developing the 5-step model initially, not a framework. And then after refining, after fine-tuning, after putting it into practice with my team, with the teams I am working in, so finally, what you see is the final picture, that is the ADAPT-5 Systemic Team Coaching Framework. As Ranjit said, the idea, I'm an ORSC certified trainer, so the systemic angle came from my ORSC training. So before we get into the session, there are a lot of people who have joined, which I'm very eager to know, what are your expectations from this session? You can put it in the chat box. And Ranjit, when I am speaking, sometimes can you man the chat box and take the questions, please? Thank you.
I don't know, you may want to put it on slide share mode. Full
Slide share and the next slide.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Continue. Is it coming?
Yeah, coming.
Yeah.
Only the first one. The second one,
Yeah.
expectations has to come.
The expectations I did not
Okay.
do at all. I am just wanting to hear from you, since I cannot see the box here, chat box. Okay. What are
No
the
problem. Don't worry.
expectations?
No worries, we will take care of the chat.
Yeah, I've just asked everyone, what are the expectations from this session of today, what they want to co-create with me in this 1.5 hour.
I'll read one
Yeah.
from Hussein Vijaya. I want to know diverse of the team coaching methods, especially what works. Raj says, learn about a structured approach that could be used for team coaching. Mansi says, I would like to understand team coaching better and understand this framework to drive change in a team. Swaminathan says, curious to know what is the ADAPT model. Andhra, I can go on. Do you want me to?
Got the gist of it, actually. Yeah, I think.
Everybody's curious.
Yes.
It shows the curiosity of the room and the excitement for team coaching. And I'm one person who's passionate about it. So what is my expectation? Like in ORSC methodology, we say, designing the team alliance and designing the leader alliance. So what is expected from the team leader? What is expected? So my expectation is this. I want you all to be interactive, and I want us to be on the right side of this picture, engaging, interactive. And I hope I will not put you to sleep. Rather, we will co-create some powerful insights together. So we'll move on. There's a small poll, Ranjit. There's a poll. You can go to the polls and quizzes and can you listen? The whole idea is that how is the room placed? In team coaching, we call it, reading the room. So how many of us are working with teams and all, which will help us fine tune this session as we go, because this session is not just something which I've prepared and just delivering it here. We will all be creating it, and what is emerging is in the moment. So Ranjit, could you look at the poll, please? You are on mute. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I request everyone to answer, to respond to this poll so that we will know how the room is placed with respect to teams and team coaching. Okay. Ranjit, should we close the poll?
Can you see or should anybody want?
Yeah, I've closed the poll actually, and I'm sharing.
Yeah, I think this is the result which is sharing. What we can see from the poll is that most of us are working with in one way or the other with the teams, and some are also into coaching and using all the three interventions. So at this point, it's good to see that there are some team coaches as well who took the interest to join. And I invite you all to share your reflections, thoughts on this framework, which can make it more robust. So whether it is a reflection, whether it is a contradictory statement, anything is a feedback for us. So please do participate. And then we'll just pause for a moment here. We are talking about systemic team coaching, right? So when we say systemic, what type of, what does that mean to us all? So there is a Mentimeter thing running in the background, which I will pick. I'm going to the Mentimeter to share that. So please put your responses in the Mentimeter thing. You can use the code given in the, oh, I took off the sharing, is it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's lost.
So I have to give the code, right?
It was there in that slide.
Yeah, I'm just giving it. 17191442. Just go to mentimeter.com and use this. I'm closing the slide share to pull out the Mentimeter thing, what is happening there. Just bear with me. Okay. Because I'm not able to pull out now. Are you able to open the Mentimeter?
What was the code?
17191442. There is a word cloud that is being formed. I'm not able to share.
What is your problem, Aruna?
I'm not able to share the word cloud from the Mentimeter.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming, yes.
Yeah. It takes some time sometimes, but
yeah, that's what. So what does the word cloud say? An integrating process, an independent process. That's interesting. I would love to hear about this viewpoint. Structured approach, holistic, whole environment, see as a whole process, whole entity. Love that. And I love the answers, bigger part of whole. Interconnectedness, absolutely. An integrating process, see as a whole. Yeah, great. All of us have the idea of systemic thinking. It is just to kickstart the conversation to see how we are thinking when we call systems that I use this small icebreaker. Order, integration, emergence. That's a beautiful word, emergence. And ecosystem level. Relational spaces, wonderful. In ORSC, we use that. All encompassing. So I'm closing the presentation for now. So when we think of systems, systemic coaching, we actually got so many inputs, right? So how does it actually translate? How does the systemic thinking translate into systemic lens? The lens we can wear when we're doing the coaching. So I just want to put it, most of you might already be knowing. So it's more like just revision of what we are supposed to be doing in the coming time. So the iceberg model. So what usually happens when we see the system when we see the team through a systemic lens. So usually what happens, we see the team as an event, and then we say this happened. So what is the reason for that? We try to identify, diagnose, and then fix that. But when we wear the systemic lens, we are looking beneath the surface where there is many factors invisible than what is visible. So we look at the pattern, trends, what are the patterns that are repeating. Then we look at the structures that are influencing or creating these patterns, and also the mental models of the individuals, the team, which is actually, their beliefs about the system, their biases, all these things which are creating these patterns. So when we wear a systemic lens, we all know that we look at the team not as a collection of individuals, but as a living system, one entity. And what we are coaching at, we will look at in our learning objective 1, 2, and all. We'll come to that explanation. So we see systems everywhere. We see in our communities, we see in our families, we see in our organizations, ecosystems. So anywhere the patterns are repeating, we can assume that there is a system at play there. Right? This is how we understand systemic lens and wearing the systemic lens. I would pause here. If anyone, any team coach, anyone else who wants to add something or
Can you give an example, Aruna, on these patterns when you are talking about it?
Yeah, for example, you see in a team, during the team meeting, only one person dominates the conversation, or the decision is taken, the others doesn't take. So usually it is taken that, okay, silence is a agreement. But then after the meeting, things fall back. So this is a pattern which keeps repeating. So it is the coach's role to see where it is not, if we are looking at with an individual lens, we see, oh, this person is dominating, not letting others to speak. But a systemic lens makes you go deeper. It says that why this pattern is repeating? Why is the team allowing this? We see many things like that, right? And as far as these questions are concerned, I'll try to give the examples. But any other questions, I have a break at the objective 1 and 2 before I introduce my model. I would certainly be taking whatever appropriate. Okay, Ranjit, please note down the questions and then I will take it. Just like these examples, I can do it immediately. So what is the agenda for today? So we understood what is systemic. So what I'm going to briefly touch is that nuances between group and team coaching. Most of us have already gone through a lot of such comparisons and through discussions, and just plan to highlight one which helps us in moving further. And then why now the case for systemic team coaching? Because there are a lot of papers and studies which say, yes, team coaching demand has reached a plateau and all. There are discussions going on in different groups. And of course, the main learning agenda for this session is the fundamental mindset shift and what is uniquely systemic about team coaching, what we can get it, and then the adapt-5 framework. What I intend to do is try to finish this part and make time for the case studies, maybe the last 25-30 minutes. So bear with me. If you feel it is fast, I will actually give you this slide deck when you apply for the CCUs. When you supply the when you submit the feedback form, Ranjit will send the slide deck and some of the notes along with it. So you will get your answers then. Or feel free to reach out to me anytime. So why this? What does this indicate? This is a bullet train. And for those in Jakarta, they can think of it as whoosh from Jakarta to Bandung. I just meant it for the speed. I want to indicate that the next few slides, I'm going at a bullet train pace because all of you more or less know the concept. So I will pause mostly at the learning objectives 1 and 2, and then the framework. So why team coaching makes sense now? You see the statistics, the leadership development market is growing. Companies have experienced coaching. They've seen positive results, and they also could quantify the returns. And this is all from ICF study and other noted research studies. And apart from that, what else is happening? What are the other parameters? We know whether we call UCA, Bani, what is happening is that incremental fixes or, the individual steps are no longer reaching the root of the problem. The whole idea is nowadays we need to reach the root to get the complete transformation, right? And then, of course, the most important, even we coaches are affected with is AI and disruption, which I think changes the model or makes the people rethink of the business model overnight. So for that, to tackle that, we need teams which can reorient their thinking and work within their environment with lot of speed. And also there is I would say at this point, there is a pressure on performance and speed. It's not just performance alone. And there is, of course, the multi-gen workforce now. Each team has, people belonging to 4 generations, which creates its own complexity. And then, of course, the meta crisis, whatever is happening in the world now. And last but not the least, another point, most important point is we moved away from the era of that big, strong leader whom we all follow. Now it is moving towards collective intelligence and collective leadership and, to define what's coming next and also. All this makes a very good case for introducing team coaching. So here I want to clarify the point where there is a study, there are many studies where they said that, oh, team coaching is not growing and all. So I happened to reach out to practitioners in Southeast Asia, especially in Singapore, Thailand, and also in our own India, with the senior practitioners who have been in the team coaching space. And then one thing that came out very clearly was that team coaching is not positioned properly, nor people know the difference between the finer difference between facilitation and coaching. A coach who is already a senior facilitator might get in coaching questions into his facilitation, but that does not translate to a pure team coaching um, engagement. So the practitioners, most of them said that there is a need for positioning, there is a need for creating awareness of what are the benefits of team coaching and how is it different from team coaching. If we as coaches are able to do it, we need not worry about the market or anything. So I hope I have clarified on this, because this has been a point which is coming. So now we need to the main learning agenda. One is the learning objective 1, which, as I promised, the fundamental mindset shift. So you want to move, or you want to also train as a team coach. So when you are wearing the hat of one-to-one, and what needs to shift so that when you are wearing a hat of a systemic team coach or a team coach. So we are wearing an individual frame here in the old lens. What happens? We first start with who is the problem or what is the problem. And usually if it's individual, we move to the person, diagnose the person. Then we try to fix the individual through behavioral change at the personal level, saying that, and this thing actually translates into team coaching also, that if the person is fixed, the team problem is fixed. And then also we work through the leader sometimes, most of us in executive coaching, we get these senior leaders. So one of the belief is that coach the leader, the team follows and gets the results. And then we also, in team coach, in individual lens, when we wear the individual lens, we also react to events, like episode by episode, in that moment, what is happening, what is important for the client, and then we try to work on it. So this is what happens when we're wearing the world lens. Now I invite you to wear the systems lens, the new lens with the systems frame. Then what happens? Instead of looking at who is the problem, the systems lens asks us to look at what is the pattern we are co-creating, the team is co-creating, and understanding what the system is preserving means what is the team maintaining, what is the team avoiding. The same example, Baburaj, as we have mentioned earlier. Why is the team silent when one person is dominating? What is the team afraid of? What the past legacy has made the team repeat this pattern? So we observe all these things. And then here, in the individual lens, the individual is the client, whereas Peter Hawkins says here, the team is the client. Means we are no longer coaching the individuals in the team and saying it is team coaching. No, we are looking at the entire team as a living generative system, and we are coaching that. How do we do it? We will, learn ahead. And then how we work with patterns over the time. Here, the individual is not the problem. We look at patterns that are creating the problem. The pattern is the problem. When we say the team is the client, in systemic literature, it is also called the third entity. Third entity is that space between all these individuals where the energy is exchanged, where the dynamics create a lot of interactions. So what is emerging is called the third entity, and we coach the third entity in systemic lens. So just a simple 30-second reflection for all of us. So when we are operating as coaches, where do we most naturally operate? Is it the left column, individual frame, or the system frame? So if we are to move to team coaching, what would it take to move? So you can either put it in the chat box. It's basically for reflection for you. Or if you want to share also, you're welcome to share. So this is the question. Where do you most naturally operate, in the individual frame or the system frame? And what would it take to move? And another point I want to add here, although we say that systemic frame for team coaching, we can also use this frame for the individual in a different way, like help individual connect to his immediate system and see what is the pattern emerging. So that can also be done. So I'm moving. Anyone? Any sharing here, Meetu?
Yes, there is a question though. No sharing here. Yeah, now Edwin and Jagannath. Jagannath says understanding how individual beliefs impact the team belief is needed. Edwin says mostly left for corporate leaders redefine coaching not as a corrective action but as a development one. And for me, I can say for myself that earlier when I was till I did not know coaching, until I did not know about team coaching, I was on the left side, more on the left side. And now since I've learned earlier, I've done some sessions, so I'm more on the right side now after learning.
Great. I mean, I love the points of Jagannathan and Edwin also, especially they got two different things, right? About the individual beliefs impacting, yes, very much. And then, of course, corporate leaders redefining coaching, not as a, that is where there's a lot of space for us to create that awareness around team coaching. And Mansi, I love your point. That's the whole is more than the sum of the parts. Absolutely.
There's
So,
a question from Harish also. Harish, considering the ROI, does future trend indicates organizations may prefer investing in team coaching over one-on-one coaching?
I will just quickly answer this before I move to the next slide. See, there are many studies where it says that if we are able to deliver, if we are able to demonstrate the clear benefits and deliver, there is a huge growth potential in this. But why it might have reached plateau? Every activity reaches some stages, right? Sometimes it grows, sometimes it is at a level. So it plateaus. So it is not about there is no demand, and also considering the matrix type of teams, considering the global teams, team coaching's significance is increasing and importance is increasing. So the overall picture is optimistic. I cannot say beyond that because I don't have the facts now. I hope I answered. So yeah, what happens when we see the systemic lens? I want to get one more thing. What do we do when we do the systemic team coaching thing? So we are no longer seeing the team as a separate, as a group of individuals, as I mentioned. We are seeing it as a living generative system. And it is not working in isolation. It is not existing in isolation. The team is influenced by and in turn influences by its immediate environment, the stakeholders, the organization strategy, culture, structure, and also the a wider world outside the meta crisis, everything. It influences the team, and the team in turn influences these things. So it is a two-way stream and it is not working in isolation. So the outcomes from the team are obviously, goes to say that obviously are affected or impacted by all these things. So when we are doing coaching, we don't just look at what is happening within the system. We also tend to move it a little bit to the higher and see at an organizational level also what factors. It is called, the word, if I'm right, is called systemic commissioning. So we look at the other factors as well. And there is one more important thing in team coaching, the timelines. So as a coach, you're holding three timelines for the team. One is the past. The team has a past legacy, beliefs, the way of working, norms, all those things which are coming up. And then the present, which you are looking at. No? You are looking at it, you are co-creating it, you are looking at the emerging patterns, dynamics, what conversations are happening in the room, what is not happening and all. And then the future, what is trying to emerge. It could be a new way of work, new purpose, or a totally different look at what is happening with the team, all these things. But the future is dependent on the coach holding the space for the past and the present and letting the future emerge. So that is where the systemic team coaches function or the responsibility becomes a lot compared to individual. There are a lot of complexities here, right? There are a group of individuals. The team might not be, you might ask me, if the team is not newly formed, what can be the past? So it is not the shared past, but it can be the inherited past. Each member is coming from a different team with their own beliefs, with their own norms, all these things they are getting into here, this team here. So till all this is handled and all this is sorted out, shown into the open by the coach, all these dynamics play out into a different set of patterns. So this is where the past, present, and future needs to be held by the coach to help the team look at what is emerging, to create that systemic awareness and move them to the shift they want. Very quickly, I'll just move for team coaching versus group coaching because someone said I'm new to coaching and all. See, there was one conversation thread earlier. Someone asked me that if the group of people you're coaching in group coaching belong to one organization, then why is it not team coaching? Because it belongs to the other. It depends on the focus and emphasis. And thanks, Babu Anna, for that question during our conversation. So, see, the team description used in team coaching terminology usually is called intact team. What is an intact team? It is already a live working team towards a shared purpose and goals. Whereas a group may be put together for some sessions to work on their individual goals. And the lens we wear for team coaching is systemic lens. And for the group coaching, it is always an individual development lens. There might be some similar theme, but it is individual accountability, individual theme, and here it is collective accountability. So this is very brief about team coaching. And group coaching, if you want to know more about group coaching, CoachAbility session last year, we had Siddhi JP doing a very good session on group coaching and sharing her own framework. Please visit our ICF YouTube channel to catch that recording on group coaching. Right? So Ranjit, I did your job. Right? And quickly on facilitation versus team coaching, I'm not a very active facilitator, nor I'm an experienced facilitator. I just will quickly just say 2 points here. So primary focus in facilitation is, we have a process structure for discussion. We need to come out with some alignment, clarity and all. Whereas coaching is like we show the patterns, what is emerging, and we try to bring the shift in patterns, awareness and effectiveness. Here, accountability is task and outcome focused. We here in team coaching, it is shared ownership and system accountability. In handling dynamics, facilitation, like we go ask and encourage people to share, we go from person to person. Whereas in team coaching, we don't do that. We actually use this dynamics as the coaching material. We say, I see here that there is no response from one part of the group, or I see no participation from the team. What is happening? What is the reason? So you see, we are using this dynamics for coaching. So this is a very brief. As I mentioned, this is not just to support as a scaffold for our discussions, not the main discussion. So I'm going off on a bullet train speed. And now we come to the second learning objective. That is what is uniquely systemic about team coaching. Before that, I take a 30-second pause here. And anyone else has anything to share on what is about this fundamental mindset shift from one-to-one coaching to team coaching, wearing the system lens.
Sanjeev wants to share something. Yes, Sanjeev, please go.
Yeah, hi, Aruna.
Yes,
Actually,
Sanjeev.
I have a question, like when we talk of systemic coaching. So we understand that when we talk of systemic, we talk of everything beyond the teams, the environment, the stakeholders, society, and everything. So my question is like when we are doing team coaching, we can influence in some way the team. Okay, we can sort of try to get them in a particular thinking pattern or try to look beyond their work. But how do we actually influence people outside the team, the whole company, the society, and everything else? Yes, we know everything influences everything. But we, as a coach, we have a limited, you can say, influence, and that limited influence is only on the team that we are coaching. How do we go beyond that?
That is a very good question, Sanjeev. And if you hold on for a few minutes, after this LO2, I have one slide to show you where team coaching works and team coaching doesn't work. The conditions.
Mm-hmm.
This is from an academic paper. I'll show you that. And to answer your question, in general, what as a coach we can do? We can only show the system, because for team coaching, we know we have stakeholders apart from the team, right? So we can highlight or we can show this to the stakeholders, other stakeholders involved. But beyond that, our influence is not very much. And I can share you my own personal experience. I was coaching this oil refinery group of a team to prepare them for the upcoming their shutdown or the capital repairs. And what surfaced was like something which I shared to the leader. And I mentioned that he is also required for the discussions, but the manager did not like it. So you can see at the end, the team coaching is terminated after 4 sessions because the manager is not comfortable. So in practice, all these things happen. So, and
Yeah.
I will come out to, I have a slide which says when team coaching works and when team coaching doesn't work. So now we come to the second learner. Anyone else has anything to share?
And Aruna, you can also ask, because there are a few people who might have definitely an experts in team coaching. So you can throw it open to the other, because coachability is basically a co-creation. So some of the people, so that Sandeep's response can be more pragmatically responded.
Yeah, I was saying that. I said I jumped to LO2, then I said anyone has anything to share, because we would love to hear from you. I know most of you are into team coaching and using all the 3 interventions. Anuj, yeah, please.
Hi, thank you. So one thing I would say that, in the response to the systems and beyond the team in the organization and the larger society, as the approach in team coaching is always for us to evoke awareness of the team, just like you were saying, making them aware about the influence of the systems. It's not our role to make them influence. If they choose to influence, if they choose to respond, how can they respond? So if we can help them become aware of what's the dynamic at play and how would they like to respond. So helping them maybe in the team mindset of being a victim to becoming a player in that system. And how would they like to shift that mindset if they would like to? That through the evoking awareness is the approach I would say that as an active team coach, we can help them to discover and then evoke awareness and then help them to take steps.
Great sharing, Anuj. Thank you.
Aruna, there is a question from Ramakrishna. Would you like to take it now?
What is the question about?
Please clarify if team coaching approach differs for completely remote teams with respect to hybrid or physical teams.
When you mean by approach, is it like what are the exact interventions we are planning, Ramakrishna? What was it? Do you want to know?
Ramakrishna, you please unmute and ask.
Yeah, hope you can hear me. Okay.
Yeah.
So Aruna, what I meant was the team dynamics are different based on whether they are completely remote or they're all at office or it's a hybrid. So when the dynamics are different, would the approach be different? Or is it agnostic of that factor?
See, when the dynamics are different, what we are observing varies, right? In person has other dynamics. And whereas in a hybrid or a virtual, there'll be something else. So our role is just simply to observe and portray that back, mirror that back. So basically, in my experience, where I co-facilitated with other people, in person, we can understand more of the things by introducing many activities, whereas hybrid, the impact of some of the activities and some of the tools is less. So this is, I'm coming from a practitioner point of view. And Anuj or anyone, if you want to share.
I would just concur with what you said, Aruna. The only build I would say is that maybe there are certain advantages of being with the team if they are in the same space.
Yes.
And if you as a coach are remote, but if the team is together, that becomes tricky. I've had to do that kind of an engagement a couple of times, and I feel that and sometimes part of the team is together, other team members are remote. So it is by force a hybrid. But if at least a large part of the team is together, it's better if the team coach can be present in that same space, because your ability, as you pointed out, to be able to notice what's the dynamic at play is far more when you're there in person than, it's limited when you're remote and virtual.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just to
Yeah.
build up on what you said, I think Anuj, right? So another thing is that usually what I learned in my team coaching and what I witness and where I collaborate, it is usually co-facilitation. And sometimes Ramakrishna, what we do is when it is virtual or hybrid, one coach is with the team and one coach is online, something like that we do. But as Anuj said, it is always, if the team is at one place, it is always advisable for the coach to be with the team.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
my experience also says that it is more preferable to be in person than hybrid or this one. But whether Ravi has any other views, any other persons who has very strongly can say that, it will be a great learning in case, because my experience with remote was like what Anuj was talking about it. I concur with him. But is there any other experiences of virtual team coaching very effectively done? Anything we need to be careful about it? Any learning from any one of us sitting here? Ravi, Kannan, anybody who has experienced coaching? No.
No. Okay, we'll wait for them to reflect and maybe they can share later. Right. So is it good time to move for our learning object 2? Or anyone has anything else to share? Okay, great. So as the key takeaways, key objectives I mentioned, one is the mindset shift, another is the what is uniquely systemic about team coaching. Here I want to see what stays from an individual coaching skill, what needs to be expanded, and what needs to be totally left out. However, considering that we have experienced team coaches here, the points I'm giving here are very few. I would love you to contribute to this list and I would love you to add to this discussion. So I invite you all for the discussion. So this is with my limited knowledge and my understanding, I put together these points. So what basically transfers from one-to-one practice to a team coaching? What does it make systemic about team coaching? So the core skills are always there: deep listening, powerful questions, reflective practice, non-judgment, as practitioners might always say here that we need to be neutral to individuals. We cannot let our biases as a coach or our beliefs get aligned to particular, things emerging or opinions of the team, which will actually make the entire pattern distorted. So non-judgmental, I feel, is one of the, for me, it is one of the very important core skill which I need to maintain. Apart from, of course, our deep listening, powerful and reflective practice. So anyone else has anything to add to these skills which you bring to your team coaching? Ma'am, Saraswati Anand. Coach maturity and dealing with varying paces of learning are also core coaching skills. Thank you, ma'am. I know you are and we are honored to have you in all three in person, hybrid and virtue, and there is an adaptation needed. Oh, the beautiful answer by Saraswati Anand here for the question earlier Srinath asked. So that, let me read out again what Saraswati said. Coach maturity and dealing with varying paces of learning are also core coaching skills. Absolutely required. Yes. And ensuring everyone gets space. I don't think this is, Saraswati, I would love to hear from you before I answer. As a team coach, we are not facilitating the discussion, we are rather showing the picture, Sanjeev. So it is not about ensuring everyone gets space, it is rather showing that the team is not giving space to everyone and what is happening there and what can be done. So I would look at the team coaching. Yes, sensing the energy shifts in the room. It becomes very difficult when we are doing hybrid or when we are doing remote or virtual coaching. It becomes more easy to sense the energy, read the emotional field, what we call read the emotional field as an ORS training. It becomes easier, it is in person. So I move to the next slide. expands, skills that must grow in new ways. The coaching contract, we need to be more comfortable with the multi-party coaching contract, the sponsor and the team. For example, the sponsor or the CEO wants the team to act faster and decide faster, whereas the team wants clarity and communication. That the coach should have, as Saraswati said, the maturity and the skill required to hold these two objectives together, two goals together, and lead the process. And then holding the client, as we earlier also discussed, it is not just a single person, but the team as a living system, which makes it a little bit complex. What we are doing is trying to work with the collective intelligence and working with emotion. This is where the ask methodology calls as emotional field. So it is not about a single individual's emotion, but all these together, how it is showing up collectively. Is there anxiety? Is there an unspoken loyalty which is coming up in the way? Is there a trauma which is left? So all this we actually look at, and we don't work as such. Like, for example, we observe burnout. We don't immediately work with the individuals who are showing burnout symptoms. We rather say that I observe some people with burnout symptoms. So what is happening here? What does the team plan to take it forward? How the team wants to deal with it? Right? And per person goal work, of course, as it implies, it from personal goals to the collective intent, what the coach wants to do. And anyone else has anything to add? So let me see the chat box. So
Aruna, this is Jagan here. One other thing that I have also observed is, one is looking at the team dynamic as a whole. But other thing that I also observe in team coachings is the chemistry between the team members.
Okay. And when you're coaching, what are you doing with it?
When I'm coaching, why I feel that is a very important dynamic is because sometimes these teams, though they have a common goal, I observe that the dynamic between them does not gel. Sometimes they just come from different groups, though they have a common shared goal. I mean, one recent example I want to kind of put in context here is I was doing a team coaching on strategic thinking for a group of women leaders from a multinational bank. Now, interestingly, the problem statement is the same, but they all come from diverse groups. And not even the same functional areas, right? One of them is a tech, one of them is a legal person, one of them is a finance person, but they all need to develop strategic thinking, right? And initially, it took me like a couple of sessions to just understand and kind of bring them to the common page that you are kind of looking at it as one common goal, right? And you might come from different backgrounds, but then what is the chemistry? And then I had to create some thinking exercises for them where they could actually work together as a team.
Yeah, what you mentioned is a process to get the collective alignment, right?
Correct.
Yeah, because they all came with their the goal might read as same, but their understanding how they're looking at it as different.
Correct.
So the first job as us as a team coach, or when we're doing the coaching, is the alignment. So that's where you stepped in, and thanks for this beautiful example. It happens many times, and there's a beautiful reflection by Raj in the chat. In my understanding, one key aspect of team coaching is the ability to interact and hold the process at two levels. One level with the team leader and the other with the team as a unit. Absolutely, Raj. So that is where our systemic learns and all comes into practice, is it? So we are looking at difference. And this might be, some of you might agree with this, or some of you might not agree with this, but this is something which struck me, and after my brainstorming and all. So this is what I say, what are we leaving behind? One-to-one confidentiality. For example, the same burnout experience, or people avoiding conflict. Someone says, I am not comfortable in this space to tell my objections loudly. So in the individual thing, maybe it is confidentiality. Here we need to put it to the team, maybe in a safe and a very diplomatic way, safe way, and very, you don't name the person, but you actually put it so that the team gets the point. So the confidentiality clause where what we do in individual does not hold much. We need to share. We need to share with the team. And then fixing the problem person, that's what we do initially, right? Normal when we wear the lens. Here, the pattern is the problem. Or sometimes the pattern might not be the problem. This is an assumption on my part because I was working on a case then, but the pattern might not be the problem. As now Jagannath has shared, it could be what is emerging and the understanding or alignment. That could be the issue the coach is working with. And sequential turn taking, this is more related to facilitation where we, encourage people to talk, come out with their viewpoints and then try to get the alignment right. In coaching, we don't do that initially. And and as practitioners here, they know we use all the 3 interventions. I'm coming to that. So we actually just replace this turn taking by observation of group dynamics. And of course, as Salman said, at the individual level, how do we put it? All these are a coaching material. And coach as expert of the process. My mentor always used to say, learn the process and stick to the process. The client is the master of his or her story, and the coach is the master of the process. That holds good for individual coaching. But in the team coaching, the coach is also co-creating. He's not in an expert position. It is like, since team coaching is an emergent and pattern based, the system is the expert. The system is creating the pattern. System is coming up with the outcomes. The coach is co-creating with the team. So anyone who is into team coaching here would love to challenge this or add to this, anything, please, you're welcome.
Aruna, Edwin here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just want to add, just to reinforce the online coaching that was being discussed. I'm coming from the shared service space. So a team could be in 5 different countries. So we also, as part of our, before we go into those interventions, we do a cultural training just to make sure that there are certain nuances that you avoid, or there are certain nuances that, let's say for Southeast Asia, we rarely say no, but we just nod our heads, but it doesn't mean that we understand, but we're not saying we agree. So things like that are also put in, makes it more complicated actually if it's your team's global, but just to share. So that's another factor that we do consider.
Thank you for sharing. That's a beautiful example. And you have given me the segue to discuss what is team coaching about. And most of us, when we talk about team coaching, we are not talking about one intervention, isn't it? We're talking about 3 different interventions: training, facilitation, and coaching. So where you are coming from is first, looking at the alignment stage where the cultural training is done. I agree with you about the cultural context and all, because when I was with Shell as their advisor for cultural things, so the Dutch managers used to come and say, what is with you Indians? In the meeting, they don't say anything. They are like done. And then after the meeting is done, we are getting emails saying that this is the obstacle or this cannot be done. So, so yes, what you're describing is part of the team coaching process, isn't it, Edwin? Maybe it's not contracted initially, or how it goes, I don't know in the organization, but yes. So training is also, light training is also part of the team coaching process. So where are we? Yeah, I'll skip this because this is like, when does team coaching actually land? This is from a academic paper, but it is like, I feel it is more prescriptive and I'm not comfortable sharing it because, and then I promised when I'll show this, this is also from the academic paper, and someone asked what if the external system doesn't support? So when the team coaching works and doesn't, it is like, when the tasks are too simple or predictable. You can see on the screen, team depends heavily on other teams' outputs. Organization encourages, the culture of the organization encourages competition between members. Then what is the coaching and what is the shift we are trying to bring? There might not be aligned. Excuse me. So these are some things. This is not my point. This is from an academic paper, and you're free to reflect on it and, counter it or whatever your viewpoints. I'll take a small break here to see how is the room, what has stayed with you so far, what did you get? Any questions, Saranjit?
No, not I can see. We can
So
continue.
we covered learning objective 1 regarding the fundamental mindset shift, and we also covered learning objective 2 where I mentioned about what is uniquely systemic. And as I said, I have only, I mean, those are some points which I gathered. I would love to hear, and also some people are new to team coaching. I would love to hear from them now. What has stayed with them from this more than 45 minutes of sharing? Almost 1 hour, right?
1 hour.
Yeah. Anyone, please? There's something in the chat.
Harish. Yeah, Harish, please go ahead.
Hi, Aruna. I'm audible?
Yes, you are.
All right. Thanks a lot. So thanks for the session, Aruna. Just a question on team coaching. So we understand the team dynamics and there are constant changes in team. People come in and people move out. And so what happens generally if a team coaching has been done today and after some time when the team dynamics are different, some new members have come in and some old have gone. So are we saying is there a set frequency under which team coaching needs to happen at a certain frequency, or what happens to the team coaching which was done earlier with some success metrics and so on?
See, I can tell you from my experience, one of the things we do when we are doing with this work with the teams is also set up some norms and set up some, what we would say, roughly translated to mentorship and all these things. So some aspect of this new members entering is taken care, because you can't have a continuous team coaching whenever a new member joins, right? So all these things initially are covered when you are setting the norms and all. But there are intervals where again team coaching helps, because when you observe the team has maybe shifted totally from its goal or whatever, when there is a need identified by the CEO, when there is a pivot to the team's goals, all these things, a team coaching might help. That's why that academics paper slide, which I did not show you, it actually shows where team coaching is actually has impact. It clearly says that, when it is starting of the period, when it is performance period, if they are in a cycle of activities, and then the midpoint, and in the end, to see what needs to be stopped, what needs to be done, all these things. And it clearly states that when the steam is in action, actually, it doesn't work. But that is my understanding from the academic thing. If anyone has any other experience, please feel free to share. When the team is actually in the execution mode, does team coaching work? Is the question. Saraswati, Anuj, Jagannath?
I could take a stab at it.
Yeah, please.
Actually, team coaching starts before you actually start coaching the team itself. The best way for it to work, and I'm using it as the best way, is when you start off at the beginning. So I can share with you examples of working with project teams. And these are not projects of 3 months, 6 months, etc. These are almost, 24 months, 36 months, and such long projects. And the experience there has been is, if you don't set it up right in the beginning, so there's work pressure, there's a timeline pressure. So teams are not able to balance the two. So the reality of it is that if you start off in the beginning, it's the most ideal condition. Can you work if the team has already started executing? Yeah, sure, you can certainly do that. But it also is important to check what are the conditions under which you're operating. What are the expectations under which you're operating? Because that has a huge impact. And given the fact that most people don't understand team coaching at the moment, so it's also a little bit of a challenge to be able to help set that expectation, clearly for all. Thanks, Aruna.
Absolutely, Saraswati, you're bang on. Thank you. And for those
Thanks, Aruna. Thanks, Saraswati. Thanks.
And for those of you who don't know, Saraswati, if I'm right, you have a team coaching course, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. So not just a course, I'm also a team coach. I've been working as a whole systems change consultant and coach for many years. Thank you.
Nice to have you here. Heard about you. Saraswati, thanks for sharing that. Absolutely. That's what I think the academic paper also mentioned, right? During the execution phase, it is not the right time for team coaching, unless until there is something very, I think, drastically wrong. And Anuj, yes?
Yeah, just a quick build. As Saraswati mentioned, I think it's the best and ideal that you have the coaching at the start of the formation of the team. You can set the tone, etc., as is mentioned in the academic slide also. But we may not have the luxury, or the leaders may not have the luxury of starting each time, because when they feel the need, when they recognize it, and when that conversation emerges. So there may be many other points in the existence of a team's life where also a team coaching may be brought in and may be effective, especially sometimes like, let's say a key leader has moved, right? Maybe the leader of the team itself. The rest of the team has been the same, just the leader has changed. And now the new team leader's task is to reorient the team's effectiveness. And therefore, there's an inflection point in the life of that team. Maybe there's a particular business growth plan which has now become a certain multiple of what it used to be. The ambition has changed. There's a strategic shift in the direction of the business, etc., etc. So there can be many such opportunities where the team needs a new lease of life, and the coaching can come in and enable that as a stepping stone. That's something I felt, because a couple of teams that I've coached have been very much running, but there was a new direction, new impetus, and a new influx needed, and that's where it came in. But I don't have very deep experience, so I just am agreeing definitely, but also adding this.
Thank you for adding, Anush. Yes, the key point here is that inflection, right? The new direction or the new point, which necessitate the team coaching. If it is a normal team in the execution phase, so our question is, will team coaching work? Have you observed that? Okay. So someone said here maybe more alignment coaching, and Raj, very insightful. My limited experience included being brought in for part way with a team that was operating suboptimally as a unit. This became part of the brief, and coming up with ways of working and resetting direction was part of the coaching process. Yes, there is as Anuj said, the inflection point, or there is a scope where team coaching works. So that's when the coach can act. So all set, everyone good. I can't see, as unfortunately the disadvantage in I can't read the room. How is the energy level?
Everyone is alert and active, is what I see.
So
We
let's.
are on camera.
Okay, Edwin gives a thumbs up. Thanks, Edwin. Yes. Okay. So I move on to very briefly. Saraswati ji. Yes. Good to see you on camera. Yeah.
Sorry, just one point that I wanted to share. Sometimes we are victims of our own mental models. So my experience has been a lot in whole systems change and transformation, which basically means that you're working with large group processes. So I think and just to add to what Anuj was saying, which I think was a great point. A lot of team coaching could also lie in the area of alignment. And that could be because of whatever changes that they're going through. And somewhere in my mind, there are times when you can coach the team. There are times when you just need to create the base or foundation for alignment. So I think those are the things one toggles with in real life situations.
I think, as I said, the maturity and the experience paves the way for how to move between all these things, right? How to observe and how to identify when alignment is required and seamlessly moved from coaching to that space. So now I just come to this. This is a working framework. I welcome you all to chip in to make it more robust. And I would not say this is a very special framework or something like that. Say, I come from an engineering background and from supply chain perspective, supply chain professional. So for me, I wanted something which gives that end-to-end perspective. And when I say a team coaching assignment or an engagement, so there are a lot of modalities, a lot of things involved, right? So I wanted something which puts everything together at one place. And that's how the Adapt is born. So I would say these are different stages. Let me make it very clear. It is not sequential. This is not meant to be sequential or something like rigid. You have to do this, do this. We can enter the team at any one of the stage. And how I look at it, let me first explain. A stands for collective intent, aligning collective intent. The focus here is on the purpose, the direction, stakeholders, and activities could be, what is the shared purpose conversations? Why do we exist? Stakeholder mapping, success defining. So a lot of other activities which can take place in this stage. So I am not prescribing particular stage. That's the beauty of the framework for myself, because it builds in lot of flexibility for the coach to play around with. And D is for diagnosing the team dynamics. And you might find why I come back to dynamics again and again. Maybe that's my initial coaching is the org system, where the emphasis is always on the entity and the third entity. So maybe I'm a little partial, but you as experienced coaches can add more to that. So here the activities could be when we are able to live observation of the team interactions, pattern mapping and speaking patterns check, or the surfacing the unspoken assumptions and all. The second A stands for anchor values and learning, which is like focus, norms. So the focus is norms, trust, ways of working, team charter, or a values clarification exercise. And psychological safety, I don't want to touch that because it is a very, again, separate topic on itself. Maybe we can come to some discussion. We can have a discussion on that later. So, and then, how do we give feedback? How does the team avoid conflict? How does the team handle the changes, as Anuj or Jagannath, when someone asked, how if the team has members joining in during the, as the work is happening, or so how do we handle these changes? What is the processes, how the team wants to show up? All these things we put in this stage and promote adaptive accountability. We all know about accountability. Why added adaptive, or what is so great about that? We know the focus of accountability is ownership, clarity, decision making. But adaptive, I mean here, see, there is always we map accountability to a person. But as a team, the question as a team coach I want to ask them is, what happens if this person cannot deliver, or if something comes up? How does the team keeps itself accountable? Who will step in? So these are the type of discussions which I want to happen. And for me, adaptive converts to more resilient and not rigid structure, flexible structures. No, it's not like it's not my job, or it's not the marketing, it's a marketing job, not my job type, but it's like team as a whole, how will it handle if anything comes up? So it could be peer accountability check-ins, gaps, identifying gaps, and decision clarity. All these activities can come under this, or I grouped under this. And then the track, impact, and celebrate, which is like learning, reflection, and then carrying forward what helps. So basically, how does this framework translates is that the shift from aligning individuals pursuing separate agendas to a unified team working toward one purpose. We just heard an example from one of our participants. Then the shift from what's wrong with us to what patterns are we creating together. Because what's wrong with us stays at the surface level. When we look at what patterns are we co-creating together, we are coming to the iceberg below the water surface. And then from assumed ways of working to consciously chosen shared agreements. Yes. And then the P is like individual compliance to collective ownership of outcomes. Of course, you might ask, actually, when it translates to action, there might be some confusion and some ambiguity being built when we look at collective ownership. But maybe the teams can come up with their own creative ways of how they can handle this collective ownership. So as a coach, that is the space we can hold. And the shift for the last is from did we deliver to what did we learn and what did we sustain? So this is a very simple model. And as I said, it is not like a straight line. You don't enter at this A and then go to DAPT. Depending on where the team is, as someone else, Raj has said, like the team is having an issue and his subpar performance is brought in. So maybe he might enter at diagnose and see what is happening, and then go to P and, or go to A, depending on what is needed. So basically what we are doing is we can also look at these stages as shifts, like from where we are shifting the team from one area or one goal to the other place where they want to go. Like if the team comes with, not able to deliver in time, if that is a problem which is coming, when we do and we find out that the problem might be in communication, then maybe we need to look at D. So this is like a very, I put it like this in a table, but this is not sequential, or it need not be sequential. So I stop here about the discussion and on this. Anything? Yes, Narendra.
Aruna, I understand that the model is a flexible model, but I had one question on the A that is in the center. Should that not be the starting point, just like we believe in contracting in coaching or in facilitation or even in therapy? Should that not be the starting point? Because when there are no norms, when there is no trust, when there are no ways of working, how do we move to the next step, right? So that was my question and doubt.
So that's what I'm saying. This is not like you have to start with align. And if you want me to give you a layman answer or an intellectual answer, I'll give you a layman answer. It makes a good acronym, easy to remember. So that is adapt. Doesn't mean that you need to go through all the stages. First with align and then diagnose and then anchor. So it is at what stage are you entering the team coaching assignment? Not always we get new teams. As most of us know, we get teams which are already in existence, working, having their own norms. So all these stages are not sequential. You might enter at A if you feel that is the place where you can help the team, and then come to D or come to P or T. So this is the flexibility is in its arrangement also. It is not sequential.
Yeah, I'd like to come in at a tangent. The reason why I intervened is because I felt that the middle A is always the starting point, at least from my lens. That is what I wanted to share.
Yeah. So probably that is how, again, we all have our ways of working, right? So that is how, maybe that is the way it is. And Anuj, yeah?
Just adding on to it, I think there can be two levels at which these norms are set, right? One, what Narendra is referring to is a basic understanding that you would possibly do at the start of any engagement, even if it's facilitation and, a training session, we'll switch off our mobiles, whatever, be here fully present, be wholly engaged, etc. So on that kind of a contracting, it's definitely at the start of any engagement. But then there is a deeper, where the focus might be, let's say, if the trust is the focus and where you're referring to norms and ways of working, that how do we, have courageous conversations? How do we not keep quiet about something that is bothering us, right? Which is coming. Now, that's an elaborate session and that may take several conversations. It may not be complete. In that kind of a context, it may be the heart of the whole coaching engagement, because after that, you'll see that to what extent, maybe it's arriving at a team charter or something on agreement on ways of working. And then when you start tracking it and seeing the progress against it, then that becomes, you may not even get to it at the beginning. You may take a few sessions to get to that conversation. So in that context, it won't be at the beginning. So I guess it depends on which way you're looking at this norms and ways of.
Yes. And that's a good point, actually. I missed out. That's a good point, addition, Anuj. Looking at how you're looking at the norms and ways of working. And another is at what point you're entering. That is also very important, right? So these stages, we don't do it like we enter and say, oh, let me do an alignment because that is the first thing in the framework. So we enter and we see which stage needs what focus. And then we do that. So, and as you correctly said, Anuj, when it comes to, creating trust and psychological safety and all, we as coaches can hold the space and let the system build. And it takes many, many sessions. We cannot just do it in one session or, take it like a problem solving case. So that is also there. So this is the most important thing which comes again and again. I think, as someone said, if some new people comes or something else comes, we again need to revisit these norms, ways of working and all these things. So that's what I want to add. So this is a framework, and just something which I put together. This is again sounds a little prescriptive even for me as a coach, but just wanted for people who are not into team coaching, see, for them to help, and it will come with your feedback form. So just a simple example of which interventions, when you're using this framework, what are the different tools? It need not be this. You can use many other tools. We use ORSC tools. We use, diagnostic forms when we start the coaching. A lot of other things happen. But basically, the whole idea is to show that this framework is very, very flexible and you can start anywhere. And those of you team coaches, experienced team coaches, if you, please send me your suggestions and improvements and how I can make it more robust. I would love to, I look forward to your suggestions. So, Ranjit, I think we are almost done here, right? How much time do we have?
We do have another 8 minutes. So maybe the 2-3, we already have a lot of Q&A, which is good. So if still we can take 1 or 2 more questions. The feedback form also is shared in the chat. So please share your feedback and also the details you need to in the CCU certificate. Open for questions or any observation, or anybody would like to share your observation or some good words to the good session that Aruna conducted. So.
I here have to apologize. I've taken more time than required. I wanted to introduce a case study also, but I could not do it. And but otherwise, I think we all had enjoyed the conversations.
Absolutely. No, great session, Aruna. You was very thorough and a lot of engagement in terms of different perspectives. I really loved the way you held the space, and the framework was very impressive. Well done.
Thank you, Kannan. Thank you.
Good session, Aruna. The model is good. You have introduced the model, which was a challenging one. Team coaching itself is a challenging concept. Well done.
Absolutely. Narendra, you
Sorry.
Your hand is, you raised your hand, so you want
to... Is it okay? Okay. I was in 2 minds whether to ask or not. I was hovering for the button.
You're welcome.
So,
You're welcome.
Yeah.
When in doubt, please ask.
Yeah. So, my question can be slightly out of the remit of the session and what the model you covered, that is completely aside. Organizations have existed for centuries and millennia in some form and fashion. And once in a while, these theories, these concepts, these frameworks come, and then it becomes the new gospel and the new this thing, right? In the context of team coaching, how do we know that this is making a difference to the world of work, right? Or is it an honest attempt? Should we look at it as an honest attempt, or is this tried and tested and, like, for example, adapting with AI, right? Now, everybody believes that AI is the future, right? Is this something like that? Can an organization succeed without following team coaching or, these principles?
See, the whole idea of systemic brings in that perspective, right? Can an organization succeed without team coaching? It might, or with other interventions. But if it introduces team coaching, certainly the effectiveness is on a different level. We are looking at the root cause and not at the superficial level. That's the whole idea. Like even before coaching, right? Let's see the coaching, simple coaching example, one-to-one coaching. The coaching came to India or other companies, last 10, 15 years. Before that, there are good managers, there are good teams. People have been benefiting from other interventions, right? So this became another developmental intervention, which is more sustainable. So for team coaching also, that's the same thing. Instead of looking at the team's performance, the difference team coaching here is doing is that diving deep, not stopping at the superficial level. It is touching also upon the mental models we talked about, which are the individual people's ideas. So this is where the transformation is happening. So certainly it is good for the organization. There's no doubt about it. As coaches, when we see whether we can show it, we cannot show it in 1 session. We cannot show it in 2 sessions. It will be time taking. And any team coaching practitioner here says, even Anuj can vouch for it, or Saraswati, it takes some months, even more than 1 year to 2 years. And if it's organization wide, as Saraswati said, It is no longer called team coaching. We call it as change management or system change or something else, but it takes time. So how can we show the benefit, or how can we show is how we have, that is for us to learn and put forward. That is the point which I said earlier also on the growth of team coaching, that premium. So it is for us coaches to deliberate more and show the benefits, or at least demonstrate how team coaching helps.
Sure. I have one more question, but if time permits, so I'll be on mute and you can let me know.
Anyone else?
Please
also,
ask, Narendra, ask.
So where would you bucket team coaching? Under organizational behavior, under organizational development, under organizational effectiveness? Where does it fit in? Or is it an entire science or a new body of knowledge?
If you ask me personally, I don't think it's a new body of language. As you mentioned, organizations are existing. They have a lot of developmental initiatives and all these things. But I would like to hear from Anuj and others, Babu, Anna and all. Where can we fit in this? That's a great question, Narendra, by the way.
Yeah, it's a very good question. And I think, according to me, it can come under OD or OE, but I will go for OE than OD, because organization development is meant for creating organization more effective. So from my point of view, it will come under OE to be, because of the paucity of little time. But then, see, my understanding, limited knowledge of this is that, Narendra, all the frameworks are basically enabling people to think in a very concise manner, and it provides a framework for us. It is different people have different frameworks, but whichever framework is meaningfully with the flow which happens and which is helpful for the people to implement it in a systematic manner, it would be helpful. But the challenge for many organizations, even if you look at the second slide of it, it says that only 75% of Fortune 500 companies are need to, even recent research which has been indicating that the team coaching has to be communicated to, or with evidence, database evidence to be organization, to make them feel the importance of team coaching and how it is. But even if you look at it, the process itself, any organization development specialist or any person can definitely vouch for the effectiveness of it if implemented very systematically. But there are major challenges, because though we are calling it as a team itself as a systemic, but the entire ecosystem of it, if it is not aligned, it will not sustain for a longer period of time. That's a bigger challenge, but then that is the decision by the organization to take care of it. And we can even provide our insight, but then it depends on the sponsors. That is my understanding. Others can chip in. Thank you, but it's a good question, very good question.
Anyone else has any thought point or viewpoint on Narendra's question?
Anybody can add. Harish, anybody who has experienced in Raj, Kanan?
Is Raj here?
Raj here?
Raj dropped off. Raj
okay.
is also dropped off.
Saraswati is there?
Saraswati is also not there.
Yeah, I think.
So broadly, what I've seen is there is small group intervention and large group intervention. So top team alignment, etc., is quote unquote a shortcut. If you are in a 2 lakh people company, how will you do team building, even if you want to do it, right? So you take the board and you make them sit and you put them through a process, and then you build an alignment, or you do a waterfall to 1,000 people, top 1,000 leaders, etc. Right? So scale becomes a challenge, even if they want to bring in alignment, or they may do train the trainer and say, now teach everybody over the next 3 years on what is customer centricity, kind of thing, right? But of course, at a board level, at a leadership level, it is happening. If it's a small team, then there can be a large group intervention that can be done, etc. So that is what I have experienced.
Yeah, but it is happening. But what you call it as a large scale, we call it as a LSIP, large scale interactive process, where we are using synergogical learning process. It is synagogical learning process is like andragogy, pedagogy, and synagogy. Synagogy, we are talking about only basically team learning. We are using a tough English word to create some impact of it. But then otherwise it's team learning. But how the team learning is being initiated and how it can be done in a large, even 2,000 people. Okay. But in the last almost, I think 2000 beginning, many major companies started re-looking at their vision mission into something called purpose. What is the purpose of existence of an organization? And it is, again, if you look at it long back, Mahabharata or other things, the purpose is very clearly detailed out. But then, and even Arthasastras, Kaudalya's Arthasastra, you read it, or many of the old scriptures of time immemorial, if you study detail, you will see purpose is detailed out and there are specific norms of defining what is purpose. But few years back, only 10 years back, I think majority of the large organization and corporates came together to discuss on the purpose itself. So differentiating, but many companies even do not know how to look at the purpose. So if the purpose is really cleared out and it can be dovetailed down the line, it can happen. So companies are doing it. How far they will be, it all depends on the consciousness of the board.
I think 3 minutes over
We
time.
officially close the session now.
Yeah,
Harish wanted to say something, Harish? With a smile on the face.
So I think it has been very informative session, and definitely I'm on the new side of team coaching. So definitely I'm learning, the new dynamics of team coaching. But yeah, it has been a very engaging and informative session from all the speakers. And Aruna, thanks a lot.
Thank you. And all of us co-created that with all the inputs from the practitioners and questions, interesting questions.
Yeah, questions.
all
See,
that.
that's what Narendra asking questions itself, making a lot of us to reflect on it. And on behalf of all of us, he is asking questions. So it's always good to have questions so that we can even relook at it, learn some questions will be a googly, will not be one. If we do not know, we do not know. We can learn.
Absolutely. Okay.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone.
I think wonderful.
I think most of you have, but people who stayed back and just added value to this very engaging discussion, insightful discussion. Thank you, Aruna. And
Thank you, Rajit, once again for pushing me. I was putting it off, right?
Yes, absolutely. But it is very engaging. And for me also, it has been a very learning. Like I'm not into team coaching, but just this has given some insight, some direction to start with.
Model is useful, but we can discuss offline on some of the aspects, Aruna.
Sure, Rowan. Look forward.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And have a good weekend.
He promised he'd stay till the end, and he's there till the end. So.
Who?
Thank you, Edwin.
Edwin?